Hey, Shalom Israel. Once again, it's the Brother Kalab here to the Spiritual Round of video. Before I get started, I want to give all honor and glory to my power, which is Yahweh Ka'Allah by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and a humble citation to the hopeful elect pushing this work in truth and sincerity. And the Spirit wanted me to speak in regards to humility. To the Spirit, at the best of my ability. I am in transit, and I just wanted to speak in the Spirit because Yahweh Shem Yeshai was placing things in my mind already, like thinking of things and scenarios in regards to humility. So I just pulled something up real quick. Like I said, I'm driving, so I don't know what these scriptures will do, because they're better than the ones I was thinking of. But so with that, I have Philippians chapter 3. Yeah, Philippians chapter 2, 3 and 11. It says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem another better than themselves. Hey, a lot of men can't do that. That's one thing. And to the Spirit, Yahweh Shem Yahshai, even at times, yes, I've erred in carnality. But in regards to this truth, I've never had a proud, is it like a proud view on a brother, or if anything, like when I notice pride within brothers, it always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And this is something I've always kind of steered away from. And even like in situations when there is strife, um, you don't want to be preaching in strife. You don't want to be going out on the highways and byways because you got rose up because an offense was committed to you. No, you want to come, like the scripture says, let nothing be done through strife and vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem another better than themselves. Hey, and that's something that men can't do. You know, Carnal man can't do it, right? But spiritual man, we give dues where due is dealt, right? For lack of better words, or we pay homage, we give our dues, where dues are met, and a righteous man has no problem with that. But it's the proud man, you know, it's the proud man that can't do these things, and that's an indicator as well as to the elect. Why? Because just like the apostle said, he was saying, being Hamashiach, being the greatest man with knowledge and with spiritual powers, yet he still humbled himself. He still remained in the low and meek spirit, preaching his word. He could have boasted in his knowledge, but he didn't. And us being of, wanting to be hopeful elect, we have to carry that same energy. Verse 4 says, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Let his mind be in you, which also is in Hamashiach Yahushai. I didn't even know that scripture was going to come up, but that's the spirit, right? That's the spirit. That's how we have to navigate in this truth, with being spiritual minded and having that same resemblance as Hamashiach is in us, and I'm only speaking in the best of my ability. I'm gonna see if I got another one. And this happens time and time again. I see it within brothers, and then also moreover, like in me coming up in this truth. I've seen this in men before. Um, that like it's a pride deal. A lot of it. These guys, they have knowledge. That's nothing to be taken away from. We're not going to take away from, like I said, a humble man, is not going to discredit another man, but honor him. But the thing is, when you see this pride, it's like, people want to run. Guys that come in the truth, they want to be the camp leader. They want to have a position. But the spiritual man, he's not going to. We got to let these some men seek favor, right? But we want to seek the favor of Hamashiach Yahushai. And if there is a position to be sought for, let the Most High through your works, let the Most High through the Spirit put you in that position. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to do. You're not trying to do this truth into trying to like move up the ranks. Is what I'm saying, right? Once again, I have Proverbs chapter 22:4 says, by humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor of life. Hey, by humility, I'm going to go up to this one. Luke chapter 14:11 says, for whatsoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. And that's what we want, like the Spirit was giving me to say, we're gonna let the Spirit exalt us. We don't need to be exalted amongst men, and we don't have to preach and do the work of Yahweh Shem Shai. That's doing it deceitfully. And then we have to humble ourselves to our elders. We can't get over ourselves. We have to remain in a humble and contrite spirit. First Peter 5:6 says, humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that he may exalt you in due time, right? And that's the thing. And the elder was speaking, he was saying, like nothing humbles us ourselves, and this is including pertains to me. Nothing will make you more humble than Yahweh Shem Shai, basing you. And he did it. There's a story, I don't want this all go, I'm gonna try to read it before I go out to camp. But there was a man that he came against Israel. I don't have the story complete, but Yahweh Shem Shai gave him a plague, and he humbled himself. He humbled himself because he was on a war path. You know, thinking he was doing being righteous, but Yahweh Shema. So through health, So what I'm saying is Yahweh Shema Shai will humble you if He's dealing with you. It's actually a good thing. Us to be humbled. Because that's how Yahweh Shema Shai can deal with us. All right, and this is back to I'm gonna grab this. Romans chapter 12:3 says, for I say, though grace given unto me to every man that is among you, not to think to himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as Yahweh hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. Like that's I've seen this, before, and we can't get high-minded. We can't let the knowledge puff us up, because we've been doing, because you got X amount of time, X amount of years, or you just feel like you have some kind of position. The position is given through the spirit of Hamashiach Yahushua. I seen this coming up, and I just wanted to make reference of it. It just kind of sparked when I heard the elder speaking. Um, Kind of reminded me of like things I encountered, and me being in the faith, and early, like now, moreover, I don't have those problems because I don't deal with nobody. Like I don't have I'm not I have I'm not in a camp. If I ever was in a camp, it was for, if I ever was amongst men, it was a short period of time. And also, so like what I'm saying is I'm by myself. So it's actually, yeah, that's actually a good thing, because then it avoids problems, right? But I seen this where men thought to be more over a certain brother, right? In the past, certain brother being over a certain brother and not dealing with him, dealing with him in a brotherly, humble aspect, but dealing with him in like a position of power. And that's wicked, man. That's deceitful, and you don't know, honestly, when you act like that or when you do those things, you don't know in this if that man in the spirit is above you. So we have to humble ourselves always, like our Lord and Savior from Mashiach Yahushua. These are just words to the spirit, Hey, and more importantly, right? Colossians 3:12 says, because we all want this position, we all want a position, we all want to be of that number. Colossians chapter 3:12 says, put on therefore as the elect of Yahweh, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long sufferance. So if these qualities you're lacking, right? If you're only going out on the highways and byways, then we have to examine ourselves, because if you don't, right? If you don't examine yourself deeply, Yahweh Shem Shai will bring something upon you that's going to humble you. You could well be a man of the Lord, but Yahweh Shem Shai will bring that upon you. I got to go back to it, just to the spirit. Um, but because it was going to give me another one and I kind of lost track of it. Colossians chapter 3 and 12 says, "Put on therefore as the elect of Yahweh, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering." And we're to forbear one another. Oh man, the spirit, it escaped me, but I don't want to tell you how about you, it'll come back to me. Put on therefore as the elect. Yeah, so we need to put on as the elect. We need to put on as the elect because Yahweh Bashim Ashai will, like I said, he will bring us down, just in order for us to get that right, to get that part right. Oh man, it escaped me, but it was one of those I don't want to say Yahweh Bashim Ashai, give it back to me. Beautiful. Ephesians chapter 4 and 12 says, "With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another." I'm gonna go to Ephesians chapter 4. I want to grab more on that one. Slovakia. Of course, I'm driving. If you just bear with me. 4 and 2 says, Slovakia. Ephesians chapter 4 and 2 once again says, "With all humility and gentleness," Slovakia, that's the NIV, "with all loneliness and meekness and long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit and peace in the bond of peace." Hey, a lot of men don't do that. Hey, a lot of men do the contrary. A lot of men are about division. A lot of men are about creating turmoil. And that's not the spirit. There's one body. There is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling, one Lord, faith, one baptism, one God, one Father, who is above all and through all and in all in you, to every one of us, giving grace according to the measure of Hamashiach Yahushai. Hey, and what that gives me is we can't be thinking, like I said, this measure is given unto by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And if you think you're above another man based on the knowledge you have, hey, he can take that away from you. you know we have to, oh, I got it, y'all gave it back to me. So if you're not coming in that spirit, if you're coming in that other spirit where you're looking down upon men, well, you need to examine yourself. And that's the one. If you're coming in that strife, you're coming in that spirit of contention, you're being proud, you need to examine yourself. Like I said, this video is for me as well. So this is in no regards to anybody in particular, but just things I've experienced. And this is for brothers coming in, brothers that may hear, that we do not put ourselves in that position. Slovakia. One more. Examine yourself, because if you are in that spirit where you're always knocking brothers, you're not, instead of building them up and being forbearing, having that brotherly love, which is the most, it's the most, I believe, it's the most commandments to keep. Then you need to self-examine yourself. All right, that's what we're getting at. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 15 says, "Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Hamashiach is in, except ye be reprobates." Okay, so if hey, there's a thin line between being being a man of Yahweh Shem Shai, and being a reprobate. And then, so you can have all this work, you can have all these what's the word that Jake likes, all this validation, right? But if your spirit isn't meek, if your spirit isn't humble, if you're not carrying yourself in a contrite, lowly, contrite spirit, you have to ask yourself, is the Yahweh Shem Shai dealing with you? So there's a thin line between the man of the Lord and being a reprobate. So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to my power. I want to say it was edifying. Yahweh Shem Shai, edifying in the spirit, right? But with that, I want to end the video. Hey, with that, I want to give all honor and glory to my power, which is Yahweh, call Allah, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and a humble citation to the hopeful elect. I say Shalom.